Let's take a ride to 425 Ash Cabin Hollow Road. I had an errand I needed to do today, this evening, that's Saturday, August 8th, 2026, over towards the direction where 425 Ash Cabin Hollow Road is located in Harriman, near the edge of Harriman and Kingston, just a few minutes from Kingston City Park on the lake. So I'm heading over there to do a little touch up on some of the windowsills in the basement, and I thought I would take my YouTube channel followers with me. This is kind of like a little mini day in the life of a real estate agent. Check out the view at Kingston City Park and Trails on the lake as we are passing them by. Super duper pretty. Miles and miles of trails follow the edge of the waterway and shorelines throughout Kingston and Roane County, connecting tons of little parks, pavilions, boat ramps, docking areas, picnicking areas, bathroom facilities, playgrounds, and so much more. The view crossing this bridge is always so pretty in both directions, but let's see if we can catch it a little bit over this way today. You can kind of see a little bit of it. Usually I try to capture it when I'm on the other side of the road, but you can see a little bit of a view that way. We are coming up on the Icon gas station. It usually has the best price on gas in all of Roane County. Right there on the end of Bluff Road. There is Bunch Marine over here on the right. They just expanded and built this super cool storage system over here. Great group of guys and gals over there. Give them a call for all your boating needs. Coming up here on this major intersection where Lowe's and Kroger and Walgreens and Waggles and restaurants and banks and all kinds of conveniences are, and we're just going to take a little right here onto famous Pine Ridge Road in Roane County. I call Pine Ridge Road cut-through road because in my mind it's my favorite way to cut through when I'm cutting from the Kingston Harriman area over to the Harriman Rockwood area. The brand new massive QT gas station up here on the left just opened a few days ago. QT's cool and all, but I'm a Waggles girl myself, so gotta say that. And as we're coming down this hill here, you start to see that beautiful, gorgeous Roane County ridgeline. It's so darn beautiful. I almost forgot I had promised my seller I was going to come out here today and tidy up these windowsills in the basement. And, but then I remembered I did a lot of communications today for buyers, for sellers, for off-market, for on-market, for potential new customers and clients. Some people, you know, are kind of surprised how much I work 7 days a week, but I really, really love what I do. And I love talking to people about real estate. I love talking to people about their goals. When you're planning and setting goals for your property, you're dealing with some of your most valuable assets you'll ever own your entire life, the things that impact your family and your loved ones on a multi-generational way, and it's just incredibly rewarding. Tell you what, I'm obsessed with this land over here because the guys that bought it, the way they cleared it and leveled it, it looks spectacular, and they opened up that ridgeline view. I had studied all that string of land that was for sale over there on Easter for the longest time, and would go down there and was just so obsessed with that property because I saw what it could be. And to see that someone finally bought it and did what I was envisioning is so satisfying. That's another thing that's something I really love about real estate, is that before and after, it's just so incredibly satisfying. I love this bridge. I love the color they painted it. We're coming up on another little bridge. I wish they would paint it to match. It would look so cute. So we are now on Ash Cabin Hollow Road, and there's a couple of bad patches on the road. I called the county about that, and they were like, there's a lot of big trucks coming in and out because they're working on clearing some raw land that's down towards the end of the holler, and when that gets done, they're gonna patch all that up. So that was really cool. One thing I'll say about Roane County, Kingston, Harriman, etc., they take very good care of our roads, very good care. So that's the first time I've ever called the county roads department, and living in Roane for many years now, to inquire about a complaint. So I'm always super impressed with them. All right, let's see here. We're gonna come up on a really pretty view here in just a second. Check that out. So pretty, so pretty. I like this last bit of drive as you're approaching the driveway to the property. The folks that live right here are so sweet. I just talked to them a bit the other day as I was passing through, and they were just the sweetest people. So kind. So I'm gonna kind of ease a little more gently up the driveway because I'm hoping there'll be some deer at the other end. Again, I've been catching deer up here in my videos. Oh, there's a bunny. Hang on, there's a bunny over here under the tree. Unless he hopped away. He hopped away. If you want my contact information, it's taped to the front door and the back door. We're hoping to have some quotes finished being drawn up for the finish work for the main level, the basement level, and the front and back deck to complete the renovations. And I'm gonna tape those up on the front and back door as well once I get those in hand. I gotta turn the car around real quick so it'll be easy to get out of here when I leave. One thing I always love when I come out here are the frog and the cricket sounds. Sounds so pretty. Gonna get in here and get out really quick. But this is the back porch, and the seller is so wonderful and so kind. He installed this so that showings would be super easy, and then we have this as a backup in case something goes wrong, but so far nothing's gone wrong. And I'm gonna get this door open. All right, so let's pop some lights on. The main level, all of the floors have been pulled up and all of the vents are decommissioned. The ventilation system has been rerouted through the ceiling with a brand new HVAC system that is about 1 year old. Making sure I got that door locked there. There's new lighting in every room on the main level. There's new ceiling fan hookups. There's new fire detector hookups, new thermostat. I have a little note on the wall. If you visit for a showing, this is going to be the bathroom that you would use. Anywhere there's plumbing, everything has been gutted because the stage of renovation the property was in. The next stage was going to be to pick out all the new cabinetry, the new plumbing fixtures, new insulation, sheetrock, and solid hardwood doors also throughout the main level of the home. We need paint, we need floors. New front door as well. You can see that the seller also removed the dividing wall that was separating the living room and the kitchen space so that there could be established a true and open floor plan. Bedrooms and bathrooms branch off to the left and the right of this heart of the home space. We're gonna head down into the basement. I need to grab the broom. Usually when I do these videos, I'm over here visiting, doing different little things here and there. I like to show these lights. They're so nice and bright. The way it lights up is just really good. But they have this cool little feature. So you turn it off and you turn it back on again, and it has a glow feature. It looks a lot prettier in person. The camera, you know, the eye of a camera detects and displays light really differently than the way a human eye detects and views light. So in the video as I'm capturing it, it looks kind of like bright, but in person, it's much more of a softer golden glow. Super cool feature. I love it. We're gonna leave that on bright. I'm gonna open the basement door. Turn this light on. There's a little bit of cobwebs right there. I need to sweep them off. There's a little bit of cobwebs right there, but I might actually be able to catch them right now. Let's see if I can do that really quick here. One thing I can say about this property is that I never see bugs here. Those cobwebs have just kind of been hanging about for who knows how long. I just snagged them all and got rid of them. But I've never seen bugs anywhere. And I always feel really comfortable moving about the property because it's just very, like, sanitized, I guess would be the word. All right, let's go down into the basement. I feel like I forgot a light switch, but I think there's one right here that we can work with. Where is the one for down here? I forgot. Usually I'm down here when it's like really super bright out. There we go. Okay. Yes. We are going to clean these windowsills because there are some dusties and some old little dead flies hanging out. When you're visiting the property, if you're hiking through the yard or you want to peek in the windows, you're welcome to do that. This window and that window, if you pull up the driveway, you walk around the front of the house to the right, these two windows are on the right hand side of the house. And it's cinder block, and on the other side it's brick. The vision for the basement, I'm so obsessed with. Like, I want to see the after. Like, I want to see it so badly. But the ceiling is quite high in the basement. The basement's pretty spacious. The vision for the basement is to do ceiling to floor glass windows, sliding glass door situation in place of the garage door, and then replacing this residential door with a glass door or like a two-door combo. So you have a solid door and then a glass door to just let the light pour in. Putting a wall in between these 2 points, extending that wall to here, getting rid of this, put it outside or whatever, and then all that space over here, taking this washer dryer hookup, running it over to this wall, putting a washer and dryer right here. This is the brand new electrical panel. Then over here, upgrading the sink situation, putting a toilet maybe right here beside it, and then here, again, imagine this is gone outside wherever, having a little enclosure for this so you don't see it, and then from here to here on that wall right there, having just a massive luxury glass wall walk-in shower situation. Then all of this space over here being turned into a big entertainment room that overlooks the gorgeous backyard with the walkout basement, and I personally would put a massive pool right outside there. You know, you just need some floors and some sheetrock. And again, the ceilings down here are quite high, which is nice, and I'm totally obsessed with that. And then you could finish this out to turn this into some extra storage space under the stairs. But that's the vision for the basement space. Let's see. I'm going to pause this while I clean these windowsills really quick. Okay, mission accomplished with those windowsills. So we're gonna head on back up. So if you visit this property to do a showing, we have the water switch. I meant to show that downstairs, but this sink in the kitchen works. We have some little conveniences here for you. And I showed this bathroom in here. We've set up some little conveniences in here. And again, this is mid-renovation, so the walls look crazy, but everything works. And you just have to go downstairs and turn the water on to the right of the water heater downstairs. There is a copper pipe that runs horizontally, and on it there's a switch that points straight down, and you're going to turn it to the right so it points to the side. That turns the water on, and then you're going to put it back and that turns the water off. So there's a place you can leave a note if you need to leave a note, or you can just text me, of course. I always feel like I'm forgetting something when I'm heading out, but I think that's everything. We've been keeping the thermostat at 75, but when you're here visiting, you know, you can adjust it. And then as you leave, just put it back. Back to that beautiful sound of crickets and frogs. There's a few little fireflies over here at the edge of the tree line. There's one glowing. So the way you lock this as you leave is you hold this down, then you hear it do all its stuff. And then I always double check it just to be extra sure. But so beautiful, so peaceful. This 3-bay carport, at the end of it, it has a animal enclosure. When I was out here with the contractors, we were kind of talking smack about it. But honestly, when you look at it, the bones are good. These poles are gonna last forever. The supports running this way are sturdy as well. The supports up here are running sturdy. It's just got some stuff in there that's a little bit raggedy, but I mean, if you tidy it up and you do some weed eating around the edge of it, there's a lot of space through there. With the stuff that's in there right now, there's not a lot of room to turn around your vehicle. But I have a little tiny car, so I still can. If you come out here to visit the property, you know, just do whatever works, I guess, for how you want to park and turn around. I usually turn around right here in the front yard. I immediately pull in, then back, and then get back forwards again. That way I'm already the direction I need to be when I head out. But you can see the glow of one of the neighbor's lights up there. The people that live up there must be like the quietest people ever, because I'm here almost every day and I never hear any noises from over there. Maybe like twice on 2 different times I heard like one rooster crow for like 3 seconds or something. It's so peaceful out here. It's just very beautiful and peaceful. Ever since that gentleman down the road told me that there's a bear that's been sighted around here in the dry season, I like watch the tree line and I'm like hoping I'm gonna see a bear. But I see tons of deer out here. Was hoping I'd see some today, but it seems like they pass through the yard at a slightly earlier hour. like there's some midday deer traffic, and then there's some like around 7 p.m.-ish. They pass through, it seems like 8 p.m.-ish, and right now it's almost 9 already. Well, I'm heading out of here. Look, 2 HVAC systems. One's only a year old, guys. Anyways, I'm headed out to do the rest of my errands for the evening before going home. Just thought I would bring my YouTube channel along for a little video today. Deer. There's a baby deer and a mama deer. One, two. Let's see if I talk to them, if they'll hang out. Hi there, beautiful. Hi there. Hi there, pretty. Hi, you gonna come say hello to me? People used to always tease me about talking to the deer, but if you talk to deer or turkeys, they'll start to familiarize themselves with your voice and your appearance and your smell, and then they'll just become more and more friendly. Hi there, y'all can stay for dinner. Hi. I'm leaving, see you next time. That little one is so tiny. They're so cute. It's getting so dark you can't hardly see them, but hopefully the camera's picking it up. We've had showings, I think, every single day. There have been a lot of people that have come just to walk the yard, peek in the windows, look around, but we've also had a lot of people do interior showings, one or more every single day since the listing activated. So I really think this property is going to be under contract very soon. We have some showings scheduled tomorrow, one in particular that I'm going to be hosting, and I'm excited about that because that gentleman and his friend build homes, and part of why they're interested in the property is because of the property's zoning of A2 and its allowance to attempt to put 2 homes per acre. The topography is very agreeable for construction, and the vision that they have for developing out the whole property as a whole and the acreage as a whole is exactly the vision that I have, and that's to put a bunch of small cabins wrapping around the perimeter of the property lines, which would be so pretty and just so cool. He talked about it being kind of like a mini resort, and I was like, that is exactly what I thought. Exactly what I thought. So we are going to meet there after church tomorrow. Well, I'm going to focus on the road and wrap this up for this evening. If you have questions about listing, advertising, buying, selling, real estate, land, homes, farms, single family, multifamily, long-term rental, short-term rental, Airbnb, VRBO, luxury homes, fix and flips, everything in between, tear downs, you name it. If you have a real estate problem you think is not possible to solve, I want to deal with it. Watch me solve that for you. Additionally, if you are a for sale by owner and you're trying to market your property yourself and you're not sure about what price you can fetch for it, please reach out to me. Let me do an analysis of your property and make sure you're not being undersold. So many people think their property is worth less than it actually is. I know I said I was going to wrap this up, but I'm going to elaborate a bit and talk about some case studies from earlier today. So there was a gentleman I spoke with earlier today, and I was inquiring about his property. He was a for sale by owner, and in communicating with him and analyzing his property, it is my professional opinion that his asking price for his property was extremely too low. And so I asked him why he chose that asking price. And what he had told me was that he chose that asking price because when he had consulted with his bank and his lender about a home equity line of credit, that they had an appraisal done, and that data was what they used to determine what he could be approved for his home equity line. And I thought, oh no. So what I explained to him was this. I said, think about it like this. When a bank or a lender is doing an appraisal in regards to determining a home equity line of credit for you, they're not concerned at all with what market value appraisal is. What they're concerned with is what's the number that they feel like, well, surely we could get this sold in a few days if we let it go for X amount of dollars, okay? Why would a bank, why would a lender, why would a mortgage originator want to undervalue a home or a large tract of land and say, oh, well, you know, this is what it's worth to us as far as a risk we're willing to take? And I'll tell you why. Because, and this always shocks and confuses people, okay? Everyone thinks in their mind, banks want to make as much money as they can, okay? But here's what banks understand. Banks understand that money earned quickly is more valuable than money earned slowly. So when a bank forecloses on a property, like let's say a bank gives you a home equity line of credit, or a bank gives you a mortgage on a property, and let's say you get injured or you lose your job or you get sick or you die, and your mortgage, your loan, your home equity line defaults. That means you stop paying on it and they have to repossess the property. They literally do not care if they sell it for way less than what upper market value is, because they just want to recoup a certain amount of their expected profit and move on. They don't care. They just don't care. Whereas a property owner cares and needs and wants to get upper market value for their property, because this is probably going to be the most valuable asset that you ever own in your lifetime, right? So you've got to get upper market value for it, because you're not a bank. You're not a rich bank with enormous amounts of resources. You're one person or you're one family, and the outcome of your most valuable assets determines the quality of life for the rest of your life, your children's lives, your grandchildren's lives, right? So you're not in a position to play games with your price that you fetch for your asset, where the bank can play all kinds of games, okay? So the bank is trying to figure out what's the price that we're pretty sure we can get rid of this for super quickly, okay? Because they want to limit their risk. So his perception was such that his property was only worth what this home equity line of credit appraisal person told him, okay? So I believe that analysis, when compared to upper market value, was a difference of about $1 million, okay? $1 million. So I've also seen scenarios like that where people thought that their tax appraisal number that they got on their tax appraisal from the county every year was what their property was worth. Tax appraisals are not done by human beings. 99.9% of the time, they're done by a computer software program that is incapable of thinking about market value and is incapable of thinking about what a property is really worth on an open market, okay? Tax appraisals exist in order to make a determination to generate tax revenue. It has nothing to do with market value, okay? There have been rare case studies I've come across where somebody's tax appraisal was way too high, but those are rare. Most of the time, the tax appraisal numbers on properties, and I've studied thousands and thousands of tax appraisals on properties in Tennessee. Most of the time, the tax appraisal number assigned by the county is drastically lower than what you could fetch on the open market if you're willing to work with an agent like myself that's incredibly experienced and knowledgeable and knows how to do extremely powerful marketing, okay? That tax appraisal is drastically lower than what you could fetch on the open market. Shockingly so. And I just feel so terrible for people when banks and county tax reports and other people or resources like AI or Zillow misinform or mislead, maybe not even intentionally, just accidentally, they mislead a property owner into thinking their property is capable of fetching way less money than in reality it could. And this is what comes back to why it's worth working with a great real estate agent, because a great real estate agent like myself understands these concepts. I'm gonna make you so much more money when I list and advertise your property and get it sold for you that my commission is going to be a drop in the bucket. You are going to come out so far ahead, my commission is just going to be such a drop in the bucket, you're not even going to notice it, and you're going to be glad for it because you're going to see the results that I get for you. There was another gal I talked to today, did a consultation with, hoping I'll hear back from her in a few days. She was doing a for sale by owner, and I said, how about you list it with me? What are your thoughts? And she was a little uneasy about that. And I said, well, how about you list it with me? And if I find the buyer, then I will advertise the price to stack my commission on top so that you reach and achieve your net desired amount at close. And if you find a buyer, then I walk away with nothing. I said, most agents will not do a listing contract like that. Some of them are not even allowed because they work for big brokerages that make them follow certain pricing plans and contract rules. I said, but I'm an independent real estate firm owner. I set my rules. Nobody tells me what kinds of deals I can or can't make with my clients. I make the rules. I said, so if you're not confident in what I bring to the table or in what I can achieve for you, we'll have a competition. I said, you and I will have a competition and we'll see if you bring the buyer or if I bring the buyer. And if I bring the buyer, you will not walk away with anything less than your desired bottom line that you define. You say, I want this deposited in my bank account and close. I will make sure that you have that deposited in your bank account at close. So anyway, I am going to handle some business I need to attend to, and I hope you learned a thing or two about real estate tonight. If you're interested in taking a look at 425 Ash Cabin Hollow Road, hit me up at 865-617-4783. Again, that's 865-617-4783.